Good morning. Setting up all my videos. Today I will be working with third grade, and our objectives are students will be able to identify different genres of fiction and nonfiction, while also being able to use a simple strategy to select books based on their interest. So my lesson is finding the perfect book for you for third grade, which can be tailored for second, fourth, fifth, sixth, really any of the grades. They are going to do a hands-on activity where they are sorting based on genre and then based more specifically on if it's fantasy, if it's animals, if it's science. I'm going to use this anchor chart. Hopefully you can see that, because we are going to talk about fiction and nonfiction and what their ideas might be. So I am waiting for my class to come in. And if you see me looking in two different directions, it's because I'm recording on my computer and my phone. And I have all my materials right here. So here are their books. It has a title on there, it has the genre, and it has a little description. And they have to decide whether it's fiction or nonfiction. And then they're all going to get an index card, and they're going to write on there the topics they were most interested in, and that is going to help allow them to pick out some library books that interest them best based on the topics that they're most interested in. And I need to get my pencils. Okay. Let's see if I can lift my computer up a little bit so you can see the anchor chart a little bit more. Perfect. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Hi guys, welcome in. Thank you so much for coming in so quietly, third grade. Y'all are amazing. I already knew y'all's class was going to be great to do this lesson with. Love it. All right, come on in, find your carpet spot. I know if you're kind of sitting right here, you're blocked a little bit, so if you just want to kind of find a space over here for now. Okay, we're going to start here, all right? And then I will give you instructions on what we're going to do next, okay? All right, third grade, are we ready?
Yes.
Perfect. Man, y'all are awesome and ready to go. I'm going to have to tell your teacher how great you are. Okay, so today, here's what we're going to be doing. We are going to be able to identify different genres based on fiction and nonfiction. Give me a thumbs up if you know about fiction and nonfiction. Okay, so we have a lot of people that are familiar with fiction and nonfiction. Okay, what we're going to talk about today is giving you strategies to select books based on your interests. Okay? So, what we're going to do is we are going to become book explorers. What does that mean, explorers? What does that mean? Right here in your green jacket.
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's basically when you look in explorers means like you check everywhere to like find stuff, new stuff, and books.
Very good. So what I'm hearing you say is, as an explorer, you're looking at the books, you're finding things out, and you're exploring whether or not that book is interesting. Okay, do you want to add on to that? Oh, I see some agree. Great job.
A book explorer is also where it's kind of like you're an adventure and you're like on discovering new things.
Oh my goodness, I love that. I see lots of agree. So with both of your answers, what I'm hearing y'all say is being a book explorer is like being on an adventure, right? Going on an adventure with books, exploring the different types of books that you might be interested in. Okay, great job. All right, when you think about your favorite books, what makes them so great to you? So I'm going to give you a second. I want you to think about your most favorite books, and I want you to tell me one or two things that makes them so great for you. In the pink, right back there.
They're interesting.
They're interesting, right? We want to read things that are interesting to us. Okay, what else?
Scary.
Ooh, you're into the scary. Okay, so for you, being a book explorer, you want to kind of get into the scary realm. Love that. What else? Funny, right? We want books that are interesting, that maybe we think are funny. Maybe we like scary books. Okay, what else? Yes, sir.
Mystery.
Ooh, mystery, right? So we got Mystery Man over here. I'm seeing lots of good agreeing. Yes.
Drama.
Ooh, drama. I love the drama books, right? So drama can also involve a little bit of mystery, right? What else?
The ones that have morals.
Ooh, the ones that have morals. What does that mean, morals? That's a really good word. What does that mean? Go ahead, since you said it.
It means like it has like a lesson to be learned.
It has a lesson to be learned. So there's a theme to it, right? There's some type of life lesson with that. Okay? I love that. What else?
Comics.
Ooh, comics. Okay, so comics are kind of like what type of book? Does anybody know what those are called?
Funny comics.
Okay, it could be funny comics, but there's like a specific name for like kind of what a comic is. You think you know what it is?
Fiction.
It is fiction. It could still be nonfiction, even if it's written in comic style. But normally it's a type of novel. And because it has these in it, it's kind of determined as a what? Do you think you know?
It's a graphic novel.
A graphic novel, right? Oh, I see some agreeing. Good job. That's what we're going to say. All right, so what I want you to think about today is a book that you enjoy. Do all books have to be fiction for you to enjoy them?
No.
Do all books have to be nonfiction for you to enjoy them? No, right? It might be funny, like we said. It might be exciting. It might teach you something new, like morals. It might have characters that you love, or maybe some characters that you're like, ooh, they're kind of villainous, but kind of cool, right? Sometimes, though, finding the perfect book for you can be tricky, right? Sometimes we have to read a couple of different types of fiction and nonfiction books to find out what we truly like. Okay, so what I want to do today is we're going to dive into two main categories, fiction and nonfiction, okay? And first, I want to start with fiction. So I'm going to write up here. What do you think? What color goes best? When you think of fiction, out of these four colors, what colors do you think would go best with fiction? Like, what do you think of? Right here. Green. That was the one I thought too. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go down the middle right here because we're going to be talking about fiction and nonfiction. So let's start with fiction. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. I want you to think to yourself, okay? I want you to think to yourself, what types of books are included in nonfiction, or in fiction, I'm sorry. What types of books, and how you know that they're fiction. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going to give you a little bit of think time. All right, I see we're eager. Okay, let's start right here. Fiction.
Like Super Rabbit books. I know they're fiction because the main character is a rabbit that's a boy and it has human characteristics.
Oh, okay, so you're talking about it's an animal, specifically a rabbit, doing human activities, right? Okay, so animal or animals, right? With human characteristics. And by characteristics, what do you mean by that? Like they talk type deal?
They can talk.
They can talk, they can walk, right? Like differently than they would or we would see them in the wild. Okay, very good. What else?
They're not real books. They're not true.
They're not true, right? So could we say they're made up? They're made up stories. Okay, so we know they can involve animals. We know that they're made up. Okay, what else?
Can I say my favorite fiction book character?
Sure.
And why I know it's fiction.
Uh-huh.
I'm a Piggy, and I know Piggy is a fiction character because it chases talking animals, and it has a bat and a glowing eye.
Very good. So it's depicting Piggy, right?
Yeah, that's its name.
Right, and it's got some human things about it, like talking, but then it's also got some what?
It's got a glowing eye.
It has a glowing eye.
And it doesn't talk.
It doesn't talk. Oh,
animals,
it
like
chases
Willa.
other animals.
She talks, and she's a wolf.
Okay, so what would we call that? What would we call that if it's got a little bit of magic, right? What would we call that type of?
There's no magic. It's just a really scary pig that's wearing a cloak with a bat
Okay,
and a glowing eye that stares into your soul.
okay. So it sounds like maybe it's not magic, but we know it's not real, right? So what types of books are those when you kind of have animals or characters that have kind of magic-y type things that we wouldn't normally see?
Fairy tales.
Fairy tales. Could we also say fantasy here?
Yes.
Oh, is that what you were going to say? Okay, so
It's
we've
more
got
like a
fantasy. All right, what else? Right here.
Fables.
Ooh, fables. Yeah, so fairy tales and fables. I could go with that one. All right, what else?
No photographs.
Which one?
No photographs.
Oh, okay, so
No.
okay, I see what you're saying, but let me ask you this question, okay? So I'm reading a book, right? And there is photographs in it. It's fiction, but it's realistic fiction, meaning that it could happen, but it's based on characters and events that didn't actually happen. So could there be actual photographs that or pictures that look like they were taken because of they've made it realistic fiction? Does that make sense? So I'm going to write that one down because that was good. You're right. Okay, so we've got realistic fiction. What are some other ones? Right here.
Like illustrations, if they have illustrations.
Oh, so a lot of the times they're going to have illustrations, right? Now, they can have real pictures, but if the story is really made up and we can tell that it's,
Never gonna happen.
right, then we would know it's realistic fiction. However, there could be illustrations, and what might we see those in? We said the genre earlier. We said this type of book earlier when we talked about comics. Graphic novels, very good. Now, are all graphic novels fiction? No. No, not all graphic novels are fiction. What about science fiction or historical fiction? Could that also be? So it's based on a point in time where it did happen, but the characters aren't real. Could we have science or historical fiction? Okay. My paper's getting a little crazy.
Was it sort of like this for the other classes?
Y'all are my very first one. Okay, so we've got some ideas about fiction, all right, and what the difference is. Let's talk about nonfiction. All right, so here's my three colors. What color do you think best fits well with nonfiction? Right here. Mm-hmm. Blue. Actually, those were my top two choices, so I love that you said that because I was like, I'm going to get green and blue, but I'm going to get the others just in case. Okay, tell me what you know about nonfiction. What types of books do you normally read when you're reading nonfiction? Okay, right here.
A learning book that teaches you information.
Okay, so nonfiction. And you're saying an informational book, right? I like that. So like educational. Great. Okay, what else? Right here.
I don't know really how to explain it, but I like mystery stories of crimes, like D.B. Cooper.
Oh, so maybe they are real stories, right? Like real crime stories.
Yeah.
Okay, so they can be informational because they're giving us about that. What would we call that if someone is telling a story about someone else that is real and giving information about that? What's that called? In the yellow, do you know?
Historical research.
Okay, it could be historical. And I like that you included the word research as well. But let's circle back to, so I agree with that. Let's circle back to what he said about like, it's based on something that's real and it's a crime. And like somebody's telling the story about someone else, telling us about their life, giving us information about their life, but also telling the story of maybe how there's a mystery involved. What is that type of story called? Or that type of book? What do you think?
I think it was called
That's okay. You want to phone a friend? You sure? You want to pick someone else to help you out? Okay. What about you, sweetie? A biography. Good.
Oh, so that's what it was called.
That's what it's called. So remember, a biography is being told about someone from someone else. But an autobiography is what? An autobiography is what? A story about yourself. Okay, very good. Could it include, because I want to kind of guide you, when we're talking about informational text, could we be informed about sports?
Yes.
Okay. So just to kind of give us some ideas, you could be informed about sports. What are some other topics you could be informed about? Right here.
A life cycle.
A life cycle. Love that. Okay. What's something else?
Science.
Science.
I have two huge science books still checked out from 2 weeks ago because they're so big.
Nice. Okay, what else?
Space.
Space. So we could say science, and one of those could include space, right? Because there's lots of different topics in science. What else?
Animals.
Animals, that's right. So life cycle, and I'm going to put animals right here. Okay, what else? What do you mean? When you say old days, what do you mean? Oh, like the past. So like historical. So we could say history, right? Like learning and getting information about our history. I would agree with that. Yes, you may. What else?
Like planets.
Oh, planets. So space, that would be science. What about like something you do at home in the kitchen? Cooking.
You're starting to get to the bottom.
What else could you be informed about? Go ahead.
Video games.
Oh, video games. You could learn information about video games. Okay, and what else? You got one you want to share now?
A doctor.
Oh, okay. So being informed about something with science, medicine, right? Okay, love that. So we've got animals, we've got video games, cooking, science, life cycles, biography, sports. Do we have a pretty good idea of what separates fiction from nonfiction? Yes. Okay. Now, here's what I want us to do. We are going to now have our book sort. Okay? When she gets back, you can go, okay? We're going to have our book sort. So, using the knowledge you just gave me, right? We just walked through this together. You just told me the difference between fiction and nonfiction, yeah? Okay. I know we're kind of running out of time. Each of you, you're going to go to your designated color tables in just a second. I am going to give you a baggie. Each of these baggies has a book title and a little bit of information about that book. I want you to sort these into fiction and nonfiction. Do we think we can do that?
Yes.
Okay, so when I release you, remember, go to your tables and I'm going to check in with you and we're going to talk about it, okay? I know we're kind of running out of time right now. I've gone a little bit over. I'm so sorry about that. So what I want you and your table to do is I want you to stay focused. Cool? Okay, so my blue table, here we go. My purple table. Y'all purple? Okay. Okay, so wait for red, okay? Green. All right, and my orange. That was my light green, my regular green, sorry. And are you by yourself at red?
No.
Oh, you two together. Okay, perfect. I know. I'm going to give you more information about what you're going to do after you've sorted them. So there's something else. This is why we did these topics, okay? So make sure you keep up with your cards. There should be 12. I know. That's why I'm going to, once you sort them into fiction and nonfiction, I'm then going to ask you to sort them into okay? All right. Pam. Okay, I know a few of you are still sorting. Here's the deal. A lot of you noticed that when I gave you the genre, I already told you on your card whether it was fiction or nonfiction, right? Okay, I'm glad you noticed that. But the reason I gave you that piece is because what I really want you to do is I want you to now sort them into topics. So, I want you to sort your fiction cards. Is it a topic about animals? Is it about adventure? Is it about fantasy? Is it about horror? Okay. For your nonfiction, I want you to sort it into, is it about history? Is it about science? Is it about space? Here's where the real topic begins. All right, Ham. Okay, I know a few of you are still sorting. I know a few of you are still sorting. Here's what I've heard though as I've walked around. Some of you have sorted your fiction based on if it was about animals. I know some of you sorted your nonfiction, whether it was based on history or space. Okay? There's kind of a funny one in the nonfiction that might trick you. Does anybody know what that one might be?
This one,
What is that one?
it's about animals.
Okay, what does that say? Okay, everything they want to know about sharks. How might that be tricky to determine if it's fiction or nonfiction?
Because there's a fiction animal thing
Okay,
and a non-fiction animal group.
because there is a fiction and nonfiction animal group. Let me ask you about this card in particular. It says, let me find it. Oh, what is that one?
It's the what your third grader.
Okay, why might that one be kind of tricky to figure out?
There's multiple subjects like history, science, and
So for a topic, it might be kind of hard to figure out which topic it goes into. What about the magic school bus inside the human body? I told you it's nonfiction, even though we know it's pictures, right? Yes? But what would you make that a topic as? How would you make that book? What topic would you put that into?
human.
Okay, human body, which would be considered what? It could be adventure because they do go on an adventure. But remember, we're thinking nonfiction. So what would that be considered? Science, right? Because they're going into the human body. All right, you guys did a great job. You did a wonderful job. Do you think now that you might have some more tips on how to figure out what types of books interest you in nonfiction and fiction? What type of topics that you can learn about? Just because it's fiction doesn't mean you have to just choose a fairy tale, right? Or just because it's a biography in nonfiction doesn't mean you have to choose that. Are we good? Okay, here's what I need you to do quickly because I know I'm running out of time. I need you to quickly put your cards back into your bag. Quickly put your cards back into your bag. Leave your baggie on your table. I will come around and collect them. Mrs. Buckner, do they have time to check out? Yes, but I'm done. Yes, oh, absolutely.
Everybody listen. Today, when you go check out your books, as soon as you scan them, you're gonna go back to Miss Cornell's class. So I told her to expect you guys back. You'll be kind of trickling back to class after you have scanned your books. Ruthie's coming in here in a second.
So, to wrap up, we talked about the different topics that students can choose between fiction and nonfiction. As they're checking out, they are thinking about the topics that they might use to help them check out their book. And then I'm going to follow up with them and talk about why they chose the topic that they did. So, thank you for listening to my lesson.